rejected because of my many company switches in past. I didn't think this could happen to me, but it has. After going through a selection process of about 3 weeks, where they made me the corresponding human resources and technical interviews, the client of the project I was going to enter has rejected my application. I perfectly fulfilled the profile and was told so. But I have been rejected because in the past I have made too many changes of company in 6 years. I have changed 4 times. Even though the changes have been more than justified from changes due to completion of projects, to changes because the organization has been bad in the sense that they did not fulfill their part. In spite of all this, I have been rejected. Are there really still companies' clients with this mentality? It's like being rejected by your potential partner. Not because you don't fit, but because you've had too many exes. I feel like I've been robbed. I have had time and effort taken out of my life to come to this conclusion. Simply unbelievable. Did you resume say job ended due to completion of project or something similar? Our company closed etc. In that case? Could it be they chose someone else and just handed you some BS reasoning that probably isn't why? If they did not specifically ask you why you changed companies because it was a concern to them, then that's BS. There is a flip side. I spent 22 years in a developing job in the civil service, similar roles, more responsibility, new bits of the organization over time, and I'm assured I'm unemployable in the private sector. Because of this, change the way you write your resume, or add contract to the employer portion. Both of those could be helpful. Like I've been a don through the pandemic, but I had sort contracts which look bad. Director of Nursing Independent Consultant Contract 03-2020-11-2021. Austin, Texas. Frontier MNGMNT Cantex Care Solutions Employer 3. Job description. That way it makes it look like you've held one job for the entire time listed. Or switch the title to read Independent Consultant Contract Director of Nursing. I have just found work after having only one company as I worked for them for 18 years. I was told recruiters might not like that because I haven't switched companies. Got 3 interviews and 2 offers. All interviewers mentioned they liked I had 18 years at one company. You will go mad trying to work out what they want. Well, you clearly aren't going to put up with us exploiting you. Add a line after each employer. Reason for leaving: end of contract, laid off, business closed, or whatever the reason is, without bashing the former employer or be looking like you're job hopping. Make it clear in your cover letter that you are looking for a stable, long-term commitment where you can grow and make a difference. Word it for your situation. I was rejected once by a recruiter because it took me 10 years to finish my bachelor's degree and he said that it showed I lacked initiative. Clown face. Don't take it to heart. Some employers and recruiters have their preconceived notions about what signs in a resume are negative, and you probably don't want to work with those folks anyway if that's the case. I'm sorry they waited until so late in the process to show their hand, but you dodged a bullet. I've rejected candidates because of that, but never that late in the process. A good candidate will get a chance to explain and overcome. Robbed? Haha. You have been given a gift. You have received the gift of a red flag. It lets you know that you would have suffered terribly if you had taken the stupid job working for suck idiots. If it's between 2 candidates with the same everything, but one switches jobs every 1.5 years, another has stayed around for 6 years, it's a lower risk hire to go with the person who has a history of sticking around longer. Anyone hiring for a position doesn't want to find themselves having to rehire 14-16 months from now for the same position. It can be a good route to communicate why these positions have ended on your resume, e.g., contract expired, job completed, etc. But I'd recommend only doing so if you can avoid it being a negative thing. It's funny, because I have a similar history of switching companies as well, lol. But when I'm in a hiring position, those are the first resumes I throw out. Hi, I have seen this too. I'm in high-tech hardware. Hardware and software experts change jobs a lot. So in my field, it's accepted as normal. I understand that in some other fields, such as the medical community, the field thinks folks should not change jobs as often. I always think if the job candidate is good and a good fit, I will hire them. I am so sorry this happened to you. I was told I wouldn't be considered for a job because I had too few positions. I had been at the same company for many years. So on the lines they provided for previous places worked, I only had one entry and they provided lines for 10 places. And they didn't want someone who would settle. So it's kind of all in how the person reviewing your resume interprets whether a high number of positions, or a low number in my case, is good or bad. Yes, companies want long-term, pacified employees they can fuck over for as little pay as possible, while skilled labor, senior and executive levels, make shit tons of cash and restricted stock bonuses. Even if you take their decision at face value, why do you feel robbed? Lie on your application when it comes to time. Listen, y'all. The only reason time spent matters to anyone is as a shitty measure for how good you are at the job. If you've been to a workplace, seen people who were there for decades and yet are shit at their jobs, their resume will make it seem like they know more than you. If you know the fuck out of your job, you have the skills and basically new game plus that shit, time is meaningless. You aren't lying about anything other than a shitty measure. It becomes an ethical issue only if you think you somehow knowing more but having spent less time at it will harm the company. Yeah, I wouldn't choose someone who couldn't stay in a role that long. It's definitely indicative of a pattern. You made the comparison with a potential partner who had too many exes. It's exactly this. Switching so many times makes you appear not reliable for long term, and any hire is an investment for a company, so they probably thought it wasn't worth investing on you if you would end up leaving after like 1 year. Totally understandable to me. If you have that many job changes, you need to proactively address it up front in your cover letter or interview. There is zero problem with taking short-term project-based jobs. But if every job, honestly more than one, had a problem with co-workers or managers, etc., then you need to do some soul-searching. I would discount any candidate with that record that didn't have a solid reason that fit in well with current job expectations. I've been skill building to find a long-term job like this could be valid. Or I want to take on X kind of project could. Just depending on the position. 4 different jobs in the last 6 years means you stayed in one place for 1.5 years at a time. Not sure about your industry, but in mine, it takes like 6 months before you're able to really contribute independently. Between the training, systems access, and just getting familiar with all the operations, it takes some time and effort to get a new hire up to speed. If I have to invest that kind of time in a new hire only for them to leave in a year, I might be a little hesitant to hire this person.